Good morning and welcome to the Legit Real Estate Podcast. I am TJ Ciolfi. I'm here with Holly Regoli. Holly, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, this is the time where I tell everyone how beautiful you look, but right now I'm in a car in a parking lot and you're about the size of you might look beautiful as always. You might look a hot mess. I can't really see you.
You look great though. This is the clearest I've seen you. So, just to give everybody an idea of like how today came to be, we were scheduled to record at a different time, but I moved the appointment like our recording time because I had to make another appointment and so I caught you as you're in the car and you're recording from your phone versus at home and you look so much more clear.
Do I? Well, I also had a closing this morning. So I'm wearing a shirt with a logo that I'm trying to cover. And I feel like you were surprised that I have an American flag beach towel in my car.
I think it's freaking hysterical. It's
I mean,
hysterical.
what other kind of beach towels are there? I mean, you must have the flag beach towel.
Well, I guess it's better than a SpongeBob towel or
And
my.
this one's got the little head thing, like
Mhm.
for little kids when they get out of the pool.
I almost feel like you should wear the head thing.
You know, maybe towards the end, it's gonna take me
Yeah,
a while.
I know
But
you're
I'm trying.
super
I
patriotic.
I think our policy is that we don't let our company name out there, right? Because
Yeah, I mean, people can look up and see where we're from, but we don't want to like it's not about the company, it's about what we
right,
talk about,
yeah,
right?
sure.
We talk about legit real estate in all aspects of things. So if people want to see where we work, they can absolutely look us up. But it's just funny. And today has just been I literally left my house at 7:30 this morning. It was one of those days where it's like I got a call from my friend. He's like, the bus was supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. Can I drop my kids off at your house? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I'm thinking I'm bringing all the kids to school because the older kids that are in high school had finals today and they get out as a half day and the younger girls like they're like we don't care if we're late. I'm like but the boys got to be at school, so I'm getting ready to bring them to school and the bus shows up. I'm like he was only 10 minutes late for my house. How can he be over 20 minutes late for the first bus stop and then only be 10 minutes late for us? Like, and so they managed to get to school on time, but I've got teenagers out on my deck. One of them's cutting my son's hair right now.
That's brave.
Yep. That's
Well,
he won't let me cut his hair, but they're all out of school and they're like excited and one's cutting my son's hair.
I'm curious to see if this gets more views or less views with me being like more clear.
I don't know because your voice is louder. Like
Is it?
it's very loud. So I'm gonna see if I can fix that on my end. I have no clue how, but
I don't know if I can talk any softer. That's like my voice.
yeah, no, but you look clear. So everybody's, maybe we'll get more views. I have an idea of what I want to do too. I'm
We
actually
we might get no views.
I have an idea. I have some fun stuff I want to do to kind of I there's a trend going around online and I'll tell you more about that, but I want to change our videos and do something fun with it. And if I can get it to figure out, I'll surprise you. I think it's going to be hysterical if I can get it to work.
Go for it. I am not scared to laugh at myself. I promise.
I'm all about laughing. So today I want to talk about septic systems, um,
Oh,
and
good.
cess
That's fun.
and cesspools. And the reason why is because I actually there's a house that my clients saw. Now my clients want to be in a specific area to keep their kids in the school system
Hmm.
and are in a price range that is kind of tough for the area because it's an area that you're really not going to have a lot of houses in that price range. So we jumped on a house that was a flip, and the flippers, they did a great job. Like I walked through and it looked like everything's done really nicely. It's a super cute house down a longer driveway. And I go put the offer, get everything ready. I was going over stuff at 6:30 this morning with my client, like we're good to go. And then I'm like, let me triple check uh all the paperwork. And I'm looking at the disclosures. I'm like, why is cesspool checked off? I look back at the listing. I'm like, did I miss something? The listing says septic system. The disclosures, which when you're looking at a sales disclosure, as you know, like it says septic, cesspool, blah, blah, blah. It literally is a check mark. So I'm like, I've had it happen before where they've checked the wrong thing. So I reach out to the agent and I'm like, is this supposed to say septic and they just checked the wrong thing? If so, can you Oh, I don't know if you saw the flash of light, but like they're,
I thought it was a gunshot. Not gonna lie.
no, they're out. They're literally behind me. If I wasn't fogged, you can see them shaving my son's head. Um, anyway, so I say, can you give me new disclosures if it's a mistake so that I can get this all into you and have the offer ready, good to go? And, or if it's not, like, if it's a cesspool, like, he's like, oh, it's a cesspool. I was like, well, that kind of stinks. So now I'm trying to scramble to figure out what we need to do. Now, in Rhode Island, as you know, technically when you transfer property because they're trying to phase out cesspools within 1 year of transfer of a property, the cesspool needs to be put in as a repair and done a new septic system put in.
Yep. Excuse me.
Bless you. So now we're like kind of scrambling to try to figure out, okay, where they are with their price point, where they want to stay with their loan, and they have to go through Rhode Island Housing, which they're going to be getting like that $20,000 loan from Rhode Island Housing. There is a Rhode Island Housing loan that can be used for repairing septic systems, but we can't do both the down payment assistance loan and the septic loan. Yeah, so that's a situation I'm in right now is we're trying to figure out, okay, how much is it going to cost? Can I get preliminary pricing?
Seller
Like,
this doesn't want to work with you. Like gave you the wrong information.
so we haven't even had an accepted offer yet. So I'm still trying to put our best foot forward. My clients are not scared of it because they have a friend that installs septic systems. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I'm not putting them in a situation where they're going to have to now foot the bill for all this within a year of buying the house, and I want to make sure it's going to work
Right.
because we
Well,
we came in quite a bit higher over asking price.
hmm. Well, first of all, the seller's got to fix MLS because whatever offers he thinks he has are not the offers that he really has. When because it's going to scare. It's first of all, it scares people away
Hmm.
because a lot of people have the approach, and I tend to agree with it. If I'm going to do a $20,000 project when I move into the house, I want it to be a gorgeous kitchen I can show to my friends. I don't want it to be a hole in the backyard.
Hmm.
Like that and it can be expensive, especially if you're too far away to connect to the sewer. So the seller should probably work with you on the price, but if not, I would say they're better off getting the loan. Well, the rate's going to be the same for housing on the down payment assistance or the septic. I never did a septic loan before.
The septic loan, I think, is supposed to be 0 to 1%. So
They're probably better off borrowing that because I just did one. My closing this morning was Rhode Island Housing, and it was 6.5 for the second loan.
yeah, this one is like 7 3/4 for the second loan.
Right. So if they're going to take out a loan, I mean, obviously take out the 1% loan.
Yeah, but they need that 20 for the down payment assistance. So it's we're trying to, the lender that I'm working with is a fantastic lender, and she's like, well, she's like, I already called Rhode Island Housing and asked them about the septic loan, and so we're trying to figure out a way to make that happen. But at the same time, I'm like, I asked the agent, I said, do you know if they have two other offers on the property? I know he said one was kind of, I think, around where asking prices. The other one he said is higher, but obviously they can't tell me how much. So we went in with an escalation clause, and we're going to be, what is it? We started with 6 grand over asking, and then we're escalating $3,000 over the next highest offer up to 390, 402 is where we ended up. So from 385 to 402, it's a good chunk.
Yeah.
But we weren't asking for any credits back or anything. So what I'm wondering is so I asked him, I said, do the other offers know that it's a cesspool versus a septic system? He's like, well, they signed the disclosures. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I almost handed it over without, like,
I mean, in the end, they'll be responsible for it, but that's a good way for them to back out during inspections. You, you're at like it might be cool in your head, like oh they signed off on it, but when they have an inspection, they bring a septic guy there, and he's like, "There's no septic here." They're gonna back right out of the deal. So if I represented the seller, I'd rather be truthful up front instead of being like, well, they signed, they're in. Like, unless they're waiving inspections and then you kind of screw the people, I would feel like it's unethical. But then again, they signed off on a document they should have read.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
to protect my seller from the deal falling through, is I would rather get it out there and be very clear. And a checkbox ain't going to do it. That's a phone call. Like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you guys know this on septic.
Yeah. And that's the way I feel. I feel that I almost need to come in and say, okay, I did talk to a guy that I know that does septic design and septic installation. He's actually having his guy pull the property. I pulled up, so in Rhode Island, we can look on the Rhode Island DMOWCS website, and we can pull up anything that has been a septic repair or permitted and all that stuff. So the way this is it's off of a main road. There's a house right on that main road that I
Mhm.
was able to find. The address is like 40, and this other one that we're putting an offer in on is 40A. So it's like right behind it. So I was able to find the septic repair that was done on that one. And so my septic guy is actually having somebody pull that one now so we can see what the soil results are. So we can see what kind of system he'd probably have to put in because it's right on the side of a river as well, like a little stream. So depending on that, he'll be able to give me a good idea of value. But he's like, you're probably looking around $25,000 all in, unless you need a bottomless sand filter, which you're probably going to be closer to 40,000.
Jesus.
Yep. So
Like,
I'm
that's that this guy, the listing agent, he's playing with fire if he doesn't disclose this. Like, clearly, just signing off on it's not going to be enough because they're going to have an inspection, and once they find out, especially if the amount can be as high as $40,000, and man, that's you walk away for that. I mean, most clients would walk away from that.
Yeah. And so my clients have somebody that they know that installs septic systems, so they're not scared. They're still
Right.
okay coming in. But now, instead of me putting in an offer that escalates up to 402, I almost want to recommend to them, and I think I am going to recommend to them and say, listen, why don't we come in, acknowledge the fact that we know that it's a cesspool, put the offer in at this, but ask for a credit back of like, I don't know, 15,000, or see if we can get an idea of what it's going to cost entirely. Like, you can't really get a price on the septic until you do the septic design.
Mhm.
So the septic design itself is 2,500 to 30 to $3,000 to get that design. So you really can't do any of that stuff until after you're closed.
And man, I mean, I often wonder personally, like, is it someone's job to drive around and see who's got the work done? And I don't think that it is.
I don't think anybody
But
ever checks.
yeah, like if I bought a house with a cesspool, would I worry about that law very much? Maybe not. Maybe plead ignorance. But at the end of the day, it's like you'll always have it in the back of your head that I've got
Hmm.
to do that. But this is why you see on so many listings, if it's got a cesspool, they'll put it right in the description. Like, they
Hmm.
don't want your time, they don't want to waste anyone's time. You got to know this going in.
Yeah, and you know the price is lower because it's got a cesspool.
And
Um,
you list, I would say, this, I'm listing 24 Maple Street, and it has a cesspool. It's priced accordingly.
yes, exactly. You need to point that stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, like I said, they're signing disclosures, but I mean, I don't always like if I look and see if things are written out in the disclosures, but I happened to catch that this morning and I was like, whoa, like literally my client signed everything and I was like, let me just triple check this before I send this. And I was like, I totally didn't even see that because I didn't expect it to not match what they had on the MLS. Um, Now I think I've told you my nightmare story regarding septic systems on my last flip. But in case people here haven't heard this, I had bought a flip. I had the septic inspected when I bought it. It passed. Now in Rhode Island, it's typical to only do a flow test, which means they're going to take a hose and they're going to run water into the septic system and they have like a yardstick kind of thing and they measure how long it takes for that water to flow out. That is they do that. They check the integrity of the tank cover, those kind of things. They'll look up the records if they can find them, yada, yada. I had that done. It passed. I went under contract with that house to sell it. The buyer had that same test done. It passed. She lost her job 3 days before closing, took off to Florida, never came back. So I had to put it back on the market. The next buyer buys it. He does his own septic system test. It passed. He's like, they could never find the drawings. Can you maybe help me figure out where this system is? Because what if I want to put a pool or something else? I don't want to put it right on the septic system. So I actually had a friend that had a backhoe come and dug up to do some test digging so we could figure out where the system was and stuff. Turns out I didn't have a septic system.
Wow.
I had a pipe from the house to a tank, and then from the tank to the woods was this orange tar lined pipe. No leach fields, no actual septic system. So this is somebody years ago dug a hole in his backyard, had somebody drop a tank in it and ran a pipe. Like a
No
couple.
way.
Yep.
I mean, A for effort, but now you're stuck with a problem.
I had to put a whole new septic system in.
Well, that cost you.
$18,000.
Oh my goodness, there's every ounce of profit.
Actually, I did actually, the only way I still made a profit on that property was because when I bought it in 2020 and then sold it in 2021, the values were going bonkers because of COVID. Like I literally had it under contract for 304 in February, was supposed to close in March, and because that buyer lost her job, put it back on the market, went back under contract for 318.
Wow.
So that,
Kind of.
and thank God when that buyer backed out, that like lost her job, I kept her $10,000 deposit. Like she signed off. She took off. She left. She, she actually moved all her crap into my house. Her agent asked me if they could drop off stuff in the garage. And it's literally like a few days before closing, I was like, you know what? That's fine. Well, her dad took it upon himself to move everything she owned into the house. There was a bed set up, there was a couch set up in the house. The garage was filled with everything she owned. So when she lost her job, lost her mind, she took off to Florida with her kids, never came back.
So you ended up with all of her stuff,
All her stuff,
which you had to get rid of.
which I had a big yard sale. She signed off on me selling it. She signed off. I even kept, I was like, you know how like old school you take pictures and you actually print them out?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a bin of pictures from like years ago, like I don't know, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And so I kept them in storage for a while, and I had reached out to her on social media and I was like, "Hey, do you want these?" She's like, "Maybe I'll see if my brother can pick them up." Never heard back from her. So I ended up getting rid of those too. I felt bad.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean,
When I bought, um, my house has two garages. So one of them is like a detached garage. It's like I don't know, 200 feet away from my front door. And when I bought the house, there was a car in there. And I told the guy, like, you can leave the car here, but for a reasonable amount of time. Like, he was like, I can't get it out, today, tomorrow, whatever. So, anyway, it stayed there for a whole winter. So now spring comes. I closed in October. The car's in there all winter, but I didn't care. I can't even see it. Anyway, now spring comes, and I'm like, listen, man, you got to get rid of this car. So when he gets the car out, now it was the first time I can walk to the back of the garage. And what was back there was like all kinds of personal shit from not this owner, the prior owner.
oh,
And it was like the guy was a doctor. It was like his medical degree, like the
oh my
certificate
God.
things. And it was pictures of like his family growing up and like what was clearly like their colors were faded. So it must have been like the 60s. And it was just boxes of shit, all personal in effect, and awards and plaques and the kind of stuff you would store in a garage. And yeah, it broke my heart to throw him in the dumpster. Like it did, but not
Yeah.
only I think the guy's deceased, but it sucks when you're throwing away someone's personal stuff. And I don't mind throwing away your toaster, man. I have no feelings for your
Yeah.
toaster. But your high school yearbook, I kind of do, actually.
And we talked about this before because you were talking about all of the things you collect. It's like, who is going to care about that? Like, or the things I have actually above my on my mantle above my wood stove, I have a flag from a great uncle that was over his casket. I've never met him. He died well before I was born, but I was cleaning out my Pepe's house when my Pepe passed away, and in the basement was just this flag in the basement that somebody forgot about years ago. And I'm like, I can't just let this go to waste. Like I felt bad. And so I bought a flag box for it. I had his picture in it for a while. Like I said, I never met him. I had a black and white picture of him in the military. And I had it there for I still have it there. I was thinking about getting rid of it, but I feel guilty.
You know, it would be horrible to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you're stuck with it forever. And then your kids are going to have to do the heartless thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think about the things that I have and I'm like, someday this isn't going to matter to anybody.
Anybody at all. No.
Yeah. When I tell you, all right, so we're very heavily involved in scouts and we our troop is sponsored by the American Legion in the town of Situate. So
Okay.
there's a flag box that collects flags. And every year or multiple times a year, we'll actually do a flag retirement ceremony where you have to, in order to get rid of a flag properly, you're supposed to burn it and then bury the ashes. But it's not just burning it. You have to go through a whole ceremony and it's a respect thing. And you're standing, like when we do this, we do it at, while we're at camp in the summer and we are there for a couple hours standing at salute the entire time these flags are being burned. And but there's a lot of flags that are like casket flags and it's just
I get a flag. We'll have to talk about this off air. I have a flag in my backyard that has to be retired. And I can't even get to it because the pulley thing is snapped and it's just up there. And it's such an eyesore and it's like embarrassing
it's
because
also not okay to fly one that's
and
torn.
no light on it at night, which really bothers me because I know you got to have a light on it at night. And it really bothers me. It's just I don't know how to scale a pole. You know?
Yeah. I think you're gonna need your kids to do that at some point. But anyway, I'll shift back to the thing. So anyway, it turned out I had to replace that septic system.
Yeah.
$18,000 out of pocket I didn't expect. So now I don't just go with, hey, it passes the flow test, we're okay. I go with in Connecticut, when we're doing stuff in Connecticut, the inspections I've had over there, they actually scope the system. So they take a camera and they run it all the way through the pipe. So you're seeing if there's any cracks in the pipes or in the D boxes, you're seeing if there's vines or things that go through the pipes and they'll run it down. And so you have a much better idea. So now if I buy anything, especially on the flip end, I'm having it scoped. If I have buyers doing stuff, I know it's going to cost more money, but I'd much rather have them have the system scoped.
Well, it makes sense now. I never even heard of such a thing. I
Yeah,
never heard of it. Just a flow test and we're out.
yeah, no, I knowing now that the flow test only checks for if it flows out. And yeah, there was nothing obstructing the pipe, so it flowed out right into the woods.
It will. I mean, it will.
It was, I, but in, you know, what's funny is in different states, it's different laws, right? So in the state of Connecticut, or at least in the areas that I work in, if you have a cesspool, if the cesspool is working and fine, there's no need to replace it. They don't require a replacement like in
Oh,
Rhode
good.
Island.
I feel like that's how it should be, to be honest with you.
No,
We're replacing something that isn't broke half the time. I'm sorry, I'm dying. Just so everyone knows, when you're sitting in a car with the windows up, I'm just like boiling. So if you notice that I'm turning colors,
you're almost matching your shirt.
and I put the air condition on, and it was I felt like it was too loud. Um,
That's okay. We're gonna wrap up
oh,
anyway because I have to go to my next appointment.
um, yeah, that's and it's such an expensive project. Like when it's the most scary part of a home inspection is the septic and the well to me
Yep, because
because
those are the biggest costs.
and you can't see them and you can't you can warn them of things during a showing, during an appointment, during an open house, like look at this, look at this, look at this. I mean, I can look at a roof and pretty much eyeball the year, But the septic and well, you have no idea. And the well test they do, it's 2 hours of running water, which is like the most unrealistic and unreasonable test, in my opinion, is the well test. Because on what circumstance am I going to open the water in my house for 2 hours straight?
Filling a pool.
That's it. But you know what? If you have a well and you're a dumbass that doesn't want to pay for the pool to be filled, like
Like me.
I don't even have a well and I still pay the guy to fill my pool. Like,
Oh, I do it, but I'll do it in spurts. However, on that same flip, I love this guy. I actually prefer to use him on most of my tests, but the well guy ran my well dry.
is it Joe?
Yes, but I love him. He's
I
really good and thorough.
I do too, but he runs your well dry, and like then he gives the buyer a report that says your well failed. And I'm like, well, it ran for 90 minutes at full blast. I don't think that's a failed well. Like I'm not. If I have a well and it runs for 90 minutes, my well did not fail.
Right. But what happened is we had recently just had I had it tested when I bought it. Like a year later, I went to go sell it, which it recuperated fine. But I also had one buyer test it. That buyer within a month left. I had another buyer come in and test it. Like it was, and it ended up running dry. I was just like, oh my God. It was frustrating. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that in the attic because you don't go in the attic during showings 99% of the time, and it's like that's the panic portion of the inspection process. Um, I'm curious to know. So hopefully we'll know by next week what happens with your client and the well test. I mean, excuse me, the septic and the cesspool.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll update you on that, but that's just a frustration of mine, and especially with the fact that it was listed online as septic, but in the disclosures, one little check mark, and I'm like, that's, in my opinion, not being honest.
Mine either. So they always say that in MLS it's supposed to be reliable but not verified.
Yeah.
But I think that is that's an accident. That's not an accident.
No.
And that's not an accident because it's a big deal. This guy bought the house, so he would know.
Hmm.
And then when you put it, you know that if I check cesspool right here on MLS, it's going to decrease the amount of buyers I have
Hmm.
by a lot. Not by
Hmm.
like you, by like 90% of them are walking away.
Absolutely.
And now you got them in the door. Now they love the house, and now it's like, well, maybe they won't notice.
Yeah.
Although I did have one where the guy, I was at the walkthrough, and it was like, here's all your paperwork for the septic, and the kid didn't know, and he had a home inspection. He had an agent who was like a Zillow agent. Like he met him at the door. I remember when they got there, and so he met the buyer at the door of the open house and was like, "I'm your agent." And they came in, and the guy was like, "You'll know who he is. I'll text you his name afterwards." He was at our company for a little while, and he's not with us anymore. But he met the kid. Of course, to get the deal done, he was one of those. Nah, nah, nah. You gotta waive all inspections in this market. So of course, my client is glowing, right? Because the offer was just out of bounds compared to the other offers. No inspection. The boop, ba boop, ba boop. We get there for the walkthrough, and I hand the guy. I'm like, all right, here's the stuff. Here's the warranty for the windows. Here's the appliances, all the stuff that my client wants you to have, all the handbooks. Here's the thing for the septic. We didn't know we had a septic. We don't want to buy a house with a septic. So now we're at the closing, and this is when buyers and sellers sat together. And like now the kid's father comes. Like it was like a 3-hour closing. The attorney, I thought they were going to kick us out
Oh
because
my
we were just
God.
there forever. The kid didn't want to sign.
No, you got to be honest. You got to pay attention. It's live and learn, right? All right. I need to tell everybody where we can find us because I have to fly because I have a 40-minute ride to my appointment. We are the Legit Real Estate Podcast. You can find us where? YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, I podcast. I can never remember. Everywhere you can find podcasts. I'm sorry. We are on Facebook and Instagram and like I said, YouTube. And if you want to be on our podcast and share your fun, legit real estate stories, you can email us at thelegitrealestatepodcast@gmail.com.
We do have a guest coming soon, very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Have a
All right.
great day.
Get your appointment. You too, Allie. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.